Non-conforming agricultural uses. Owners of legal building lots containing agricultural uses which have become non-conforming as a result of adoption or amendment of this code may restore, modify, and maintain the existing structures and may construct new conforming structures provided such structures are directly related to the agricultural use and provided the use is not enlarged or altered in any way, shape, or form. This is Costilla County Planning and Zoning. Costilla County Planning and Zoning. So, first of all, just right off the top, a lot of people in Costilla County owe some money. They owe some money. You have Aiden Heckman. There's 9. 9 of these buildings are not in compliance with planning and zoning. Adam Clayton. He don't have any permits at all. Wayne Kurt Johnson, no permits. Jerry Miller, James Bax, Robert Roman, and Kevin Bertini. They don't have a septic tank permit. They don't have a road access permit. They don't have a building permit. They don't have a cistern or a solar power permit. So how are they getting their water? Where is their poop going? How were they able to drive and use our roads? And then how are they able to construct a structure without a building permit? I don't understand this. Adam Clayton has a structure on his land. Wayne Kurt Johnson has a structure on his land. Jerry Miller has like 2 or 3 structures, or at least 2 structures. I think one structure's on his neighbor's land, RSJ Investments, LLC. They're out in Las Vegas, so they probably won't mind or notice. But no permits on anything. No permits on anything. So why are these people goddamn harassing me? You also have Troy. He doesn't have any permits. Troy and Marcy Zinn. They don't have any permits. They got 4 parcels. No permits on any of them. Jacqueline Mitchell's old place, which is Sharona Vacny and Gary Gonzalez. They don't have none. They got 0 permits. No permits on their place. And 0 permits on Aiden Heckman's 5 acres fuck you property. He's got a little sign that says fuck you. So to Costilla County, he isn't going to pay for his permits. Fuck all you all. In Costilla County says Aiden Heckman. He's right next to the Labato Bridge, and you're not going to have anybody. The sheriff isn't going to, post a little notice, and they're not going to mail them a notice, and they're not going to rein this stupid crap in. Don't tread on him. How's this not right-wing sovereign? All this smacks right-wing sovereign, and they're from Inglewood. So you got these, outside agitators, these absentee landlords, come in and say, fuck your laws, fuck the county commissioners, fuck the planning and zoning department, and, fuck the sheriff, cops, clerks, judges, the whole court system, right? Aiden Heckman doesn't give a goddamn flying fuck about you. So Aiden Heckman, he hasn't paid for his permits. Troy hasn't paid. Troy Zinn hasn't paid for his permits. Sharona Vacny and Gary Gonzalez need to pay. That's Phil Greeny's place. Phil Greeny, Jacqueline Mitchell was harassing me, and then Phil Greeny started harassing me. And they were doing it like as soon as I would walk out the door. It didn't matter if it was 8 in the morning, if it was noontime, if it was 5 p.m. Robert Pickrell, no on all 4 permits. Robert Roman, Kevin Bertini, no on all 4 permits. So all these people need to, Wayne Kurt Johnson, Adam Clayton, Jerry Miller, James Bax, Robert Roman, Kevin Bertini, Robert Pickrell. Robert Pickrell owes like $2,400 in permits. Why would these pieces of shit fucking harass me? Well, I paid for my permits. I set a good example. I'm kind. I'm lawful. I own a green gate. A green gate? And 2 posts. I had 2 posts and a green gate and a lock. And like a little chain. And they didn't have a green gate and a lock and a chain. So I don't know what to do with relative poverty. I mean, I'm rooting for you. You had 20 gates. I'd be happy that you had 20 gates. What I'm really worried about is this Nelson Leonard. I think it's Nelson Leonard. It's either Nelson Leonard or Juan something. But he already has a septic tank hole out there. It seems like he's trying to do it the right way. And that's going to be hard as hell. He's probably wasting his money. throwing his money renting someplace. It's expensive, time-consuming, congestive. I'm worried about the people that do it the right way, because Robert Pickrell did it the wrong way. He saved himself over $2,000. He started harassing me. I couldn't. Not only was he allowed to live his life, but he was preventing me from living my life. And I just stayed put, holding my fort. Now, some of these people I was actually pleasantly surprised about, but let's read some more. Section 7.5, change of a non-conforming use. Change to conforming use. A non-conforming use may be changed only to a use which is conforming in the zoning district in which the use is located. Termination of non-conforming use. Any change of a non-conforming use to any other use shall immediately terminate the right to continue the non-conforming use. Thereafter, the property shall be used only in conformity with the use provisions of its zoning district. Section 7.60, destruction of a structure containing a non-conforming use. A structure deemed destroyed. A structure containing a non-conforming use shall be deemed destroyed when either greater than 50% of its floor area or greater than 50% of its actual value as determined by the Costilla County assessor is destroyed. Page 58. B. Termination of non-conforming use. Restoration of structure. 7.70, abandonment of a non-conforming use. What the hell is a non-conforming use? What the hell is a termination of a seasonal seasonal and a damage to a structure, right to bring enforcement action, written notification. Nothing in these regulations shall alter or diminish the county's right to take enforcement action against the unlawful continuation of a non-conforming use, except in the case of an illegal enlargement or alteration, for which the owner shall be provided with a 30-day opportunity to abate. Any failure by the administrator to provide a notification of a determination of termination as provided for in this regulation shall in no way entitle the property owner to continue or resume a non-conforming use terminated under provisions of these regulations. All non-conforming uses, they're breaking the fucking laws. Destruction of a structure containing a non-conforming use. Interesting. Written notification. In the event the land use administrator receives information that the right to continue a non-conforming use has been or may have been terminated, the director shall provide a written notification of this determination by first-class mail to the property owner and to the parcel address, all as shown on the records of the county assessor. The property owner shall have 30 calendar days after the date of the notification within which to provide evidence satisfactory to the administrator to show that the determination is in error, to abate the illegal enlargement or alteration, or to file an appeal of the administrator's determination to the Board of County Directors. In any appeal, the property owner shall have the burden to show that the right to continue the non-conforming use was not terminated according to the applicable provisions of this article when judged in light of the history and nature of the use and circumstances of the alleged termination. B. Right to bring enforcement action. Enforcement purpose. Okay. Authority to enforce. Article 8, Section 8.10. 810. I don't like how they do these numbers. God, these numbers are freaking terrible. They should just have Rule 1, Rule 2, Rule 3, Rule 4. Rule A, Rule B, Rule C. Because I want to say 8.2. Well, Section 8.2 says 8.3, but it's 8.20. 8.20? We'll get back to this in a second. So I was actually pleasantly surprised. Hiram Richardson has paid for a road access permit and a septic tank permit. He didn't pay for a building permit or a cistern or solar power, but nobody's supposed to pay for solar power, but cistern or a well. Nick Vallela, or I guess would that be small development? Nick Vallela, he had road access permit and septic permit and a building permit. He had 3 permits. Hiram Richardson had 2 permits. Old man Ed Brewster, yes on the road access permit, no on a septic tank permit. I want to look at Seminole Trail. I want to see the enforcement, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Are you just being a sucker if you're being lawful? I mean, everywhere it says there's signs as soon as you drive into Costilla County, there's planning and zoning, there's planning and zoning. They had all those issues with the people that aren't doing planning. They call them planning and zoning. They call them off-grid assholes. Sam Jepson, he's yes on road access, yes on a septic tank permit. Incredible. Sam Jepson, you paid for your permits. Hiram Richardson, you paid for your permits. Kenny Capon, yes on all four. Cistern building permit, septic tank permit, road access permit. Kenny Capon, yes on all four permits. Melissa and Amy, they got a road access permit and a building permit. No septic tank permit or cistern. And I put cistern and solar together, so yes or no could be either one. Probably cistern, right? Because there is no solar power. You can have all the solar power you want. A single family home can have all the solar power that they want with no permits. You don't have to pay for any permits. Philip E. Clements, he paid for all of his permits. Road access, septic, cistern, building permit. He was the one that lives right there, northeast. And, he had a light that was set up and it looked like it was beaming on me. It took me a while before I just took one of my solar lights and pointed it towards Pickrell. I don't know about Philip E. Clements, but he paid for all of his permits, so that's not a right-wing sovereign. He at least respects local government to some degree. Right-wing sovereigns don't respect anybody in Colorado. They don't respect the public officials. They don't respect the local officials. There are no sheriff, there are no cops, there are no county commissioners. They're just the feds. And then they're playing cops. They're a bunch of impersonating sons of bitches. They play cops, they play mayor, and they play other crap. So, Bruce Johnson, no, yes, no, yes. So he's working on it. He's got a road access permit, and he has a cistern permit, or a solar panel. It's a cistern, a small development maybe. Yes on road access. Yes on cistern or solar panel. No on septic. No on building. But he's halfway there. I like that he's doing something. At the bare minimum, he was trying. He's trying to do something. He paid for a permit or two. But all these other right-wing sovereign assholes, who want the ones that messed with me, they didn't pay for their permits. So I'm setting a good example. They don't have to pay for the damn permits. So they're going to go ahead and fuck with old John. Old John boy. John Krim. This is a perfect example. John Krim, he paid for all of his permits. He paid for his septic permit. He paid for his road access permit. He paid for his cistern or solar, had a building permit, and guess what? His entire fucking house is burnt the fuck down. He looked like he was building a model house, either because he was just going to, show everybody how to live out here, or maybe because he was going to buy a bunch of property and sell it for a pretty penny. It's got a nice big log out there, but it's all burnt up. Somebody burned it down. He was a lawful person out there, and so they burned it. The arsonist burned his shit down. And they probably didn't even pay for the demolition permit. You're supposed to pay $100 for a demolition permit. So 3 more yeses. John M. Krim, Bruce Johnson, Philip E. Clements, Kenny Capon, Melissa and Amy, Sam Jepson, Ed Brewster, Hiram Richardson, and Nick Villela. They all paid for their permits. They've all paid for their permits. So Aiden Heckerman, you need to, up your game. Aiden Heckerman and Troy and Marcy Zinn and Sharona Vacney and Gary Gonzalez, Robert Pickrell, Robert Roman, and Kevin Bertini, you need to get on your permits. You need to pay for the road access. I've suggested to the planning and zoning that as long as you get 1 permit per year, they raised the rates, and so it is kind of ridiculous that they want to basically tax growth, which is stupid. But if they make it nice, clear, cut, and dry, you get your road access permit, you get your septic tank permit, you get your cistern or well permit, or a building permit, maybe not, I don't know. They have a nice, I suggested road access, septic tank, and then cistern, I think. Or building, no, not cistern, building permit. Road access, septic tank, and building permit. And then it didn't matter, mix and match. Do the building permit first, the road access permit, or septic tank. Just one per year. And then the fourth year, get right with the state. And then the fifth year, you do your occupancy. That sounds reasonable to me. Because it seems pretty fucked up if planning and zoning is just pressing down on all the honest people. Because I walked into planning and zoning and said, what do I need to do? As an upright, upfront person. And I like being upright and upfront. And I shouldn't be taxed on it. And they shouldn't be fucking over the upright and upfront people, because then you're just oppressing the angels. You're just robbing the angels and taking advantage and exploiting the angels. And the devils aren't paying any. I mean, $2,400 is what. And if you're trying to make some money, if you're trying to think that you're, taxing everybody to help the coffers out, you'll make some money by making sure that Wayne Kurt Johnson and Adam Clayton pays for their permits. You'll make more money by making sure that Jerry Miller and James Baxton, Robert Roman and Kevin Bertini pay for their permits. That's also not fair. And it's also ridiculous that I'm going to get harassed by these assholes. They didn't pay for any of their fucking permits. So they're just criminal fucking pieces of shit. Right-wing sovereign fucking perverts. They're just fucking... That's my theory, at least. Because it's pretty interesting. All the people that were messing with me, none of them had paid for their permits. And then a couple people that weren't messing with me. Wayne didn't really do anything to me. Section 8.10. Purpose. The purpose of this article is to require compliance with the Land Use Code of Costilla County to state which activities violate this code and to establish remedies when a violation of the code exists. 8.2. Authority to enforce. The Costilla County Board of County Commissioners and their duly appointed representatives shall have the following authority. A. To enforce the zoning provisions of this code. B. To enforce conditions of permits issued under the provisions of this code pursuant to Section 3028 124.5. It's unlawful to erect, construct, reconstruct, alter, or use any building, structure, or land in violation or of any regulation in or any provisions in the Land Use Code without first obtaining a land use permit. C. To enforce the provisions of the subdivision regulations of this code. D. Nothing in this article or other provision of this code shall be construed to restrict the ability of the Board of County Commissioners to pursue any available means of enforcement available to it under state statute. Section 3015-401 CRS as amended authorizes the Board of County Commissioners to adopt regulations for the control of matters of local concern, including providing for and compelling the removal of rubbish, junk, weeds, and brush, and unsafe structures from land in the unincorporated areas of the county. Section 8.30, right to inspect the land. Use administrator or his designee is hereby empowered to inspect any building, structure, real property, proposed right-of-way, or tract of land within or upon which there is reasonable cause to believe a use exists or construction or alteration work is being performed or has been performed in violation of the applicable provisions of this code. Such inspections may include the following. A. Observation of the property from those portions of the property which are open or accessible to the public from public property or from other private property from which permission to enter has been obtained from the owner or occupant. B. Entry into the property pursuant to court order obtained after submitting an application for an administrative search warrant. Interesting, an administrative search warrant, which includes a sworn affidavit detailing facts to support a reasonable belief that a violation is likely to exist and that further investigation of the property is warranted. C. Entry onto property in emergency situations in which the land use administrator has reason to believe that the public health or safety is in imminent danger and could be jeopardized by any delay in securing entry. Entry onto the property after receiving permission from the alleged violator. E. Application signature constitutes consent to enter. Page 59. Page 60. Number 1. Signing an application for a development permit shall constitute permission for the land use administrator or his designee to enter and inspect a property until the use, activity, development, subdivision, or construction that is subject of the development application or permit has concluded. So if you apply for a planning and zoning permit, then they can come into your fucking place. So Robert Pickrell's a genius, right? He's a criminal piece of shit. He says fuck planning and zoning and fuck Costilla County and fuck paying his taxes. He's not going to pay for his fair share. He's not going to pay for his fair share. Signing an application for rezoning, variance, site plan. I mean, think about, instead of squeezing the good people that are paying for their permits, squeezing them and pressing down on them until what, they pop? Well, what's the point of that? You can make money. Not only will you make money by, you can't lose. You can't lose. Either A, they get their shit in order, or they get out of Dodge. So you would clean up the neighborhood, or you'd be raising some more money for the coffers. You'd be making sure everybody's being in compliance with planning and zoning. You would get more respect for planning and zoning. You get more respect for the county commissioner. Stephen Romero, he won on a platform of he's educated. Well, if he's so damned educated, then how come there's crimes that's happening all over the place? If you're in compliance with planning and zoning, how come that doesn't ingratiate yourself with the police or the courts or even planning and zoning or the county commissioners? You walk in and you say, what do I need to do? That's better. You want upfront and upright people who read the law and who wants to do good. Robert Pickrell came in as an illegal piece of shit fucking 2-3 years ago. And he's been committing crimes and been a fucking asshole the whole time. Actually, he only came in when I was there, and then once I'm gone, he's fucking gone, which is interesting. He hasn't been there for a year and a half. It was like a party every day when I was there. And he hasn't been there for a year and a half. What the hell's going on? And he was in the middle of it all. He's there. If I'm the prosecutor and there's a delivery and they delivered it to Robert Pickrell, he's the star witness. So you got to really think, why would they not bring him in? Do they not give a damn about the truth? Because when you read the planning and zoning laws, it goes on and on and on and on and on, and then you can interpret it in a million different ways. And then the way that it's written, it says that it's more strict. You can't less strict than the state. It can only be more strict. And then if people don't have a nice 5-step plan, then that means some people are paying for this permit, other people are paying for that permit. It's a hodgepodge. It's a piecemeal thing. Everybody's doing different things. And you don't want to make being a criminal, I mean, you save so much money being a criminal. I mean, I got treated like shit going into planning and zoning. My neighbors didn't like this shit. I didn't get anything really for being lawful except for feeling good inside for myself. That I did it right. I did it the right way. Y'all have problems with fucking right-wing sovereign movements. I wasn't going to go into planning and zoning doing any right-wing sovereign movement shit. I got a 3-pronged test. Are you a racist? Are you a child abuser? Are you paying for your permits? Do you believe in the orderly development of planning and zoning? Inspections provided for in this section shall be carried out during normal business hours, except in emergency situations or when the violation typically occurs or can be observed outside of normal business hours. 8.4 Procedure. The following procedures are hereby established for the abatement of violations under this code. A. Informal contact. The land use administrator or his designee shall have the authority to effectuate the abatement of a violation through informal meetings or conversations, notice and order. The land use administrator may issue a notice and order to a violator of the provisions of this code, ordering the cessation of an illegal condition within 10 days of the date of the notice. A notice and order shall, 1, be in writing, 2, be personally served whenever feasible, 3, describe the asserted violation existing on the premises which gives rise to the notice and order, 4, specify the period of time in which the violation must be abated or corrected, state the appeal procedure and time frame of the appeal procedure available to the alleged violator. C. Summons and complaint. Land use administrator may issue a summons and complaint. That's like an arrest. Should the violator fail to correct the violation within the 10-day period. Damn. The land use administrator or his or her designee may request that the sheriff of the county issue a summons and complaint to the violator stating the nature of the violation. The summons and complaint shall require they may request to the sheriff. Is that all they got to do? Just ask him? You think you would? The summons and complaint shall require that the violator appear in county court at a definite time and place stated therein to answer and defend the charge violator's rights. Any person who receives a notice and order may agree to abate the violation without prejudice or may appeal the issuance of the notice and order to the Board of County Commissioners as specified in Section 6.40H. E. Remedies. The following remedies are hereby established for the abatement of violations. Number 1, revocation of permits. In instances where a land use permit is approved by an administrative action, the land use administrator may revoke or withhold land use permits where activity is found to be occurring in violation of the conditions of the land use permit. 2. Agreement to abate. The land use administrator may enter into an agreement with the violator of the regulations of this code whereby the violator agrees to abate the violation within a certain time frame. Should the violator not abide by the terms and conditions of the agreement to abate, the land use administrator may proceed with abatement as authorized in Section 8.40. Appeals. A notice and order may be appealed to the Board of County Commissioners under the procedures. Failure to comply. The following additional remedies are available to the county should a violator not comply with a notice and order or with the conditions of an agreement to abate. County abatement upon advice of the county attorney and under the direction of the County Board of County Commissioners. The land use administrator shall have the power to authorize abatement of a zoning violation which causes imminent hazard to the public health, safety, and welfare. The cost of county abatement shall be borne by the violator. C. Civil penalties. Civil violation of this code shall be punishable by a minimum fine in an amount of $500. They do have fines, and not more than $1,000. Damn. So Robert Pickrell already owes like $2,400. He owes like $2,400, and he should be fined. He absolutely should be fined. I mean, he should be arrested for the crimes that he's been committing. But for the planning and zoning thing, see, that's why it's important for planning and zoning to, get rid of the fucking devils. Nip that shit in the bud. My God, you almost got rid of the fucking right-wing sovereign movement when Ricky Rodriguez arrested goddamn Zanis and Causey and all the rest of them. They basically, that was a death knell in the right-wing sovereign movement. Get rid of it. Get rid of all of it. It's not even, you could be a Republican, you could be a conservative. You shouldn't be a right-wing sovereign piece of shit. They're dumb. They're not reading the Constitution correctly. They don't even think the state of Colorado is a real state. And they don't think that the counties and the local governments, they don't. They're stupid. They're stupid as shit. I don't even know where they're coming up with it. They basically say because they lowercase the sheriff, they write the words in different weird ways that somehow makes them the U.S. Marshal. They're not the big U.S. Marshal. They're the lowercase U.S. Marshal. And somehow that's not impersonating a police. How is that not impersonating a police officer? Civil penalties, civil violations, $500, $1,000 each day after the issuance of the order of the county court, during which such unlawful activity continues, shall be deemed a separate violation and shall, in accordance with the subsequent provisions of the section, be the subject of a continuing penalty, an amount not to exceed $100 for each such day. In addition, a lien may be placed on the property if the violator fails to pay the assessed penalty imposed by the county court pursuant to 3028 124.5 CRS. Injunction number 7 and then 8, criminal proceedings. Injunction. In case any building or structure is or is proposed to be erected, constructed, reconstructed, altered, maintained, or used in violation of the provisions of this code, the board, the district attorney, or any owner of real property within Costilla County, in addition to other remedies provided by law, may institute an injunction, mandamus, a mandamus, abatement, or other appropriate action or proceeding to prevent, enjoin, abate, or remove such unlawful erection, construction, reconstruction, alteration, maintenance, or use. 8, criminal proceedings. Criminal violations of this code shall be punished by a fine in amount not to exceed $100 for each violation, or by imprisonment in the county jail for not more than 10 days, or by both such fine and imprisonment, or by such other remedies as may be specified by amendment to CRS 3028 124. Such fine shall inure to the general fund at the county each day during which such illegal erection, construction, reconstruction, alteration, maintenance, or use continues shall be deemed a separate offense. Section 8.50. Enforcement regulations applicable to subdivision.